Well, good morning, good afternoon, no matter what time of day it is where you are. I want to welcome you to this week's episode of the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network. Brandy's got a few personal issues today she's having to deal with. She may be on here in just a little bit. But anyway, so Cheryl and I will take it and we'll rock and roll with our guest today. And we welcome back to the microphone a guy that hey, he's been on our broadcast before. Cheryl and I have been on his podcast and broadcast before, and we go back a good little ways. And his name is Tim Reed. And the neat thing about Tim has, just like myself, has been able to look at a lot of businesses, a lot of people in the industry, and take what we call a 30,000 foot view. So it's kind of like flying over the terrain when you're in an airplane and you can look down and you see the terrain you're flying over. Well, that's kind of what we do because all three of us deal with companies across America. We know what the challenges are. We know we see this and we see so many challenges out there. But the neat thing is we learn so much. And Tim, I'm sure that that's also in your case that you see a lot of things and you learn a lot. So let's get it rocking and rolling this morning. And Tim, let's tell them just a little bit about what does Tim Reed do? Tell us what you do. You know, you're the editor of an electronic magazine now, and you do all kinds of things. So give everybody a little background into who Tim Reed is.
Thanks, Jerry, and I appreciate you guys having me back here. Yeah, so my day-to-day involves a few things. I have a software company that makes a product called Wi-Fi, and basically it's a sales process and estimating tool for the fireplace industry that helps basically people get control of their sales process and get visibility on it and write customized estimates for fireplace jobs. I also, like you said, have a digital magazine for the fireplace industry that me and my friend Grant Falco kind of spearhead. And with that, we have a monthly magazine podcast where all of our articles are put out in an audio format. I also have a weekly podcast that I do called the Fire Time Podcast. And then I do consulting work as well, kind of going around similar to you and working with businesses on their processes. So somewhere in there, I've got a job. I'm still trying to figure out what it is.
Well, that's it. You know, you kind of spread out everywhere. And, you know, Tim, I think it's really interesting because when I first met you, you had no background whatsoever in the service side of the chimney and the hearth and the venting industry. But yet, in the last year or two, that has changed. You have service companies that are using your software. You've been at some of the chimney sweep conventions and trade shows and that kind of stuff. So I think it's really opened your eyes up. So at this point, could you kind of start off and tell us what have you learned about the service industry in that segment of the hearth industry? What has come to your forefront about where these guys are knocking it out of the park?
Oh man, okay. Well, I might get in trouble for saying this, but this is a service broadcast. I'm sure there's no retailers watching. I'll say that in general, service companies are hungrier than fireplace retail companies are, and I think what I have appreciated about working with service companies is that in general, when it comes to fireplace appliance sales, there's not 20 years worth of bad habits to undo. There's a hunger to try to figure out what is it going to take for us to get better. And so I think that the service companies really understand the value of the customer and they understand the value of the in-home sales experience. And in general, they are willing to work hard for the sale. And I think there's some downsides the service companies have too, but I think those are absolutely the strengths. And it's not that hearth retailers don't have those, but I would say that truly most don't.
Yep. And you know, there's an interesting comment from one of our listeners right now. And this is Richard Tattershaw's company down in the Tulsa, Oklahoma market area that you and I both worked with him. And as he's developing his business model, he's probably one of the foremost guys in using a lot of your systems. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved the interactions that I've had with Richard because he's someone that's thinking big picture about the sales process, and he's been terrific to work with. I took a look at kind of the showroom space he's getting into and just made some suggestions on unit placement, And he's been awesome, even with our software, just to give us suggestions on what he'd like to see out of it.
Yeah, it is. So Cheryl, let's turn it to you for a minute and go back to the intent. What's the leading thing that you've learned in 2022 that you think would light people's fire for more success in 2023? What kind of comes to the top of your mind whenever I ask that question?
The thing that comes to my mind mainly is the training. I mean, we have pushed training, pushed it like a rug uphill. But the thing about it is, without continual training, and I'm seeing that more and more. That's why I'm using that. I've seen that for years, but even more now than it's ever been. The online training, the podcast, the things like that are coming more and more into play. Not that it's taking over the hands-on, but it's actually taking over the mental part of basically any position we have in a blue collar.
And Tim, that makes me think about one of the things that you and I both talk about is developing of a sales process. Are you seeing that people are picking up and understanding what we talk about whenever we say the sales process?
No, frankly, no.
Okay.
And it's really tough. I agree. I think that sales process I think it's the missing link from most companies in our industry. I think that many companies think they have a sales process, but they don't. And the reason I answered the question that way, Jerry, is you asked, are most companies seeing this? And I would say that no, most companies are not.
So you're seeing that some are. So where do you think the holes in the sales process are? Let's kind of share with people, where do you see the holes are in the system at?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think it's going to depend on the type of company. So I would say for service-oriented companies that are generally going to be places that don't have a showroom, or the showroom is really secondary to going out to the customer's home. So I think that the holes in the sales process that I've seen tend to be how we manage our sales pipeline when we present the bid and the customer's not ready to go at that point. How do we manage the follow-up process of nurturing that customer, of continuing to follow up and tracking that sale to completion? I think that's a big gap that I've seen in the process. I think that, again, very often we say, oh, well, we follow up with our customers. But if you were to ask that, okay, how often? Who tracks it? What's your close rate on that? How do you follow up? What team member does? How many times? And there's kind of not much of a rhyme or reason. And when we say, well, we follow up, that's not a process. I think on the hearth retail side, there's massive, massive gaps in what happens from the time a customer walks into the showroom to the time that someone goes out to their house to give that estimate. And what happens is, again, I was at a business pretty recently where I was told, hey, we have a sales process that we feel really good about. And I said, okay, like, what is it? And they're like, well, when customers come in, we ask them questions about their project. Okay, cool. What questions? Oh, well, we have a list of 12 questions written down. Where's it written down? Oh, it's on that piece of paper over there. It's like, oh, the dusty piece of paper that no one's touched in 4 years? Like, because I think if I asked all the people on the floor, no one would know about that paper. So there's no process of how do we give a consistent customer experience and understand their problems so that we can actually deliver a solution. And that might sound really, really negative. And the danger is in thinking, well, we have a sales process because we make sales. And that's not the case. Very often we make sales in spite of ourselves. And especially as the economy starts to tighten up, we got to invest in this process, A, because it will help us grow our business, but B, it will help us train people and allow them to succeed more.
Right. Let me ask you this, Tim. Do you think that the last 2 years, because to be honest with you, if we go back 2.5 years ago, I can remember being on calls with you on, I forget if it was Wednesday night, but we didn't know if the world was going to end. I can still remember telling, Grant Falco on there, Grant, I don't know what you're eating, but I want some of it to feed people because the way you've approached this COVID crisis. But what it did is the last 2 years have been nothing short of phenomenal in the way sales are. Yeah. But like we are seeing now, and I guess you're seeing the same thing, we're going into a much softer economy. And the question is, have people gotten fat, happy, and sassy, and now they got to relearn their methods, and it's going to be a lot tougher as we go forward in 2023. Is that the lesson for 2023?
Yeah, I think it absolutely is. That it's easy to get complacent when fish are jumping in the boat. For the last few years, it has truly been trying to throw some fish out of the boat so that we can accommodate all the ones that are in the boat. And that's not the case anymore. I mean, truly, now we're planting a tree, we're watering it, we're trying to watch it grow. That's a slow process, and going forward, it's not going to be the way that it was. And that's why it's so important that we dive into these processes. And there are businesses that are doing that. There's businesses that are really investing in a sales process and seeing fruit from it.
Yeah. So Cheryl, as you're listening to me and Tim talk, what's your thoughts on where this economy will be in 2023?
Well, I think we all know it's not going to be where it was at. The thing about it is, you and I have lived long enough. We've rode this boat up and down before. If everybody will, history repeats. And so it will get better again, but I'm afraid it may get worse this fall down, not fall season. As it's falling, I think it may get worse this time than it has, just because, like you say, we got really fat and sassy, and we have new people out here. We have people that we're training. Well, let me rephrase. We should have been training to sell. What we were doing was just training them to install. And so now we've got to begin again. I mean, you don't get to pick it up in the middle. A lot of times you're going to have to start it all over. And I think the older employees need to be retrained, because we all do it. But as far as the economy, I don't see it. Once it goes down, I don't see it rising as quick again.
Okay. So also a question for you, Cheryl. In your every day, you're dealing with people that are being interviewed for positions. Some days I know you may do as many as 20 to 25 calls in a day of interviews. Tell me what you're seeing of the applicants that are coming to the table in December of 2022. What are you seeing? Is it picking up? Is it people are being laid off? What's the data points you could share about the applicant pool that's out there?
At this point, it's picking up. Companies are laying off, and they're laying off some of their higher people. It's not, I think they're skimming the high paying employee to lower their expenditure of money a lot of times. But most everyone yesterday that I applied was laid off, and they're looking for a job, and they're scared. And a lot of the times the problem is a lot of companies aren't hiring right now, or if they are, they're being very, very picky. But and I know it's right around Christmas time. The month of Christmas sometimes tends to put an instillment in people that, oh, well, I'll get by till after first of the year. But it's a different crowd. I'm getting a lot more resumes in than I got even 4 weeks ago. But a lot of times they're the quality people, but they're afraid they're going to lose their home. They're afraid of this. So now they're driving for the money instead of for the experience.
Okay, so you are seeing a change in the data of the people that are applying.
Yeah, by far. A total flip over in the last 4 weeks. Again, a lot of seasonal employees. We deal with chimney service and HVAC. Well, right now, HVAC is not the necessary thing. So a lot of the HVAC companies are laying people off. People like Richard Tattershaw has an HVAC and a chimney service, so he can integrate the employees. But most companies don't. They're either or. So yeah, I'm seeing people. I could hire 50 HVAC people in the last couple of days.
Okay. So Tim, the following something that I've picked up on really big, and it's coming true more and more. I think over the last 2 years, we have quoted prices and people have jumped on it. But now we're seeing this tightening up because of the softening of the economy. And one of the things that I've been telling my clients to do is whenever you are quoting any significant job, that you need to be quoting What is the monthly cost of this? What's your feeling about utilizing financing in the sales process? Do you think that's a viable thing to be doing?
I don't have a lot of experience with that. I have some clients that I work with that do that for spas and hot tubs. So I guess I would probably plead the fifth. I think what I really do believe is that whether on the showroom floor, on your website, or in the customer's house, in any one of the, or over the phone with you, they must be given a price or a price range for their project in the first interaction. I really believe in that. But whether it should be a per month or a lump sum, I don't know. I have to think about that.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is, it's like I'm seeing people that are tightening up. And
Yeah.
I'll even look at myself. If I was looking at a major thing, we'll say it was a $10,000 cost of something to be done on my house, which is not that unusual in what we deal with nowadays, that somebody is spending that much on a fireplace or a chimney system. But I know for myself, if somebody came to me and they gave me the choice of, okay, it's $10,000 or it's X number of dollars per month, then my tendency is to take the per month. And the reason being, I hate to write a big check and watch
Yeah.
it's a comfort level. When the bank
Yeah.
balance
Yeah.
goes down,
Yeah.
my anxiety level
Yeah.
goes up.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yeah, I got to think about that. I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey's financial stuff, and so I got to think that over. But I definitely understand it. I got to plead the fifth though.
Yeah, it is. It's just like I said, the things that we can utilize. Another thing that I've seen, and we did a broadcast about it last week, is to open yourself up to new ways to market your business. Just last week, we did a show and a broadcast last week about doing local podcasting to become that community expert. And that's something I think is vastly important. I don't think every consumer knows who people are. What's your thoughts on that, Tim?
Say that one more time. That they don't know who we are.
That they don't know who we are. Well, we may think that everybody
Yeah.
knows us, but chances are they don't.
Yeah.
I can remember when I had our retail operation that people would come in and the name of the retail was the Fireplace Patio and Grill. And we'd start talking to them, and they did not know that we were also the chimney doctor, and which
Yeah.
was the service side. So do you think there is innovative marketing that people need to start looking at in 2023?
Yeah, I do. And you'll have to rein me in on this, Jerry. I could go for hours, but I believe that there is not a single company in our entire industry that is big enough to actually have branding in the areas that they offer service to. And that might be a total shocker. Now, the one exception to that is if you're in a rural community of 1,500 people, then you can get big enough to have branding. But for everybody else, especially if you're in a suburban market with 1 million people in it, you don't have a shot at being a household name. And that's actually great. I really believe in marketing that you need to think small to win big. And I think that so many companies are just obsessed with top of mind awareness. We got to hit all these people with our radio ads and all this stuff. But I feel like if we actually look at it in the chimney service industry, let's just say that you take a big metropolitan area, Philadelphia, Boston, Portland, Oregon, something like that. Well, of all the people in there, what percentage of them could ever be a customer for you? This many.
Minuscule. That's
it's
exactly
none.
right. It's
Yeah.
minuscule.
So why do I care about top of mind awareness branding with people that are never going to use me? So my belief is that now that's not to say we can't build a brand, but it's saying that we don't have a shot at building a brand with our community. We don't have a shot. We're not Mercedes dumping $700 million in marketing every year into the United States market. We just don't have that money. Instead, what we need to do is be faithful with the people that we're given. So I would imagine many of the people that are watching this or listening to it have a customer database of 10 to 50,000 customers. That's where you do your marketing to, because that's more than enough. And Seth Godin says the key to marketing is understanding this phrase. People like us do things like this. That's the key to marketing. People that spend $10,000 on a fireplace appliance have friends that spend $10,000 on a fireplace appliance. people who pay $15,000 for a chimney rebuild have friends that pay $15,000 for a chimney rebuild. And that's where we got to go with our marketing. So my belief is in going an inch wide and a mile deep with our marketing, and marketing through word of mouth, through email marketing to our existing customer base, and through winning referrals through amazing work. And I think that will grow our branding within the tribe, but it's about growing the branding within the tribe versus trying to beat my chest and say, everyone in my city knows who I am. That's my belief when it comes to marketing.
Got you covered. So Cheryl, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, what gauges you as a consumer to make a purchase from a business? What is it that would drive Cheryl Eisenhower to say, hey, I need new flooring. Who do I call? I need painting. Who do I call? I need a home service. What, as a consumer, drives you to pick up that phone and call that company?
As far as a consumer, when it's broke, I need it fixed. And I wish I had a lot more time frame tolerance, but I don't. I'm probably one of these.
No, I was just saying what Chuck said is incredible.
Work your list, low hanging fruit. You have a relationship based on trust, and
they know who you are and they trust you.
Now, my thing is, yes, I get in a hurry. I'm in a pain. I want somebody, but I prefer a reference of some type, whether it be reviews or something. We have, and Jerry knows who I'm talking about. We have pulled people, plucked them off the tree, let's put it that way, and used them and been disappointed. So, but that's where I have to have it. And people that are branded and they have the reviews and they've been in business for a while, they're the ones that usually get my business. I'm not the person that's looking for the cheapest service.
Okay, got you covered. And so the whole important thing here, I think, is understanding what your own data points are, understanding who your market is. What's the demographics of a person that buys from you? What is this demographic? And then developing the marketing. Now, one amazing thing, Tim, that I'm learning right now is there is a major shift in social media right now happening. We have looked at Facebook as being a major player in social media. But the problem is the return on Facebook from many marketing companies are saying it is dropping out the bottom. Facebook is not producing. And now what they're starting to say is TikTok's going to be the new medium, and being able to come up with this innovative marketing. So what is your feeling on social media and what's going to happen in 2023?
I really don't know. I mean, you're seeing there's definitely a churning of traditional powerhouses, and you're seeing companies come up like TikTok. Snapchat was really big for a while, and that's cooled off. I really don't know. I would say that what is really important is using social media is almost like learning to work out a muscle, and you need to learn how to work out that muscle, whether you do it on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. That's going to be for you to look at your market and your audience and decide, but you need to learn to flex that muscle. And over time, you'll have to apply that muscle to different workout machines as new social media platforms come and go. For me personally, I still advise a combination of Google and Facebook advertising, only just due to age demographics that Facebook, with younger demographics is dropping out. There's still a lot of folks who have money that are on it. But for my belief is that truly for most chimney operations and hearth retailers in our industry, I probably wouldn't spend more than like $30,000 a year in marketing, maybe 40,000 tops, and that's including SEO, marketing, everything else. I just don't believe that you need it. I think it's helpful, and you want to have those constant ad spends. But I believe, going back to what Chuck said, is that we got to work our customer lists and the people that are finding us and being faithful there. I really believe in email marketing, and I say that not sending random people that don't know you useless emails, but I believe that, like, if companies have like a lead generating PDF on their website. So imagine you go to a chimney company's website, and after 7 seconds, there's a pop-up that's like, hey, we know how dangerous it is to have a chimney that's operating safely. Here's 3 steps you can take to make your chimney safe for under $500. Click here to download the PDF, and you capture a name and an email address. Someone's not going to sign up for that unless they actually want it. And if you can deliver a piece of valuable content that they read and think, man, I'm better for this. Well, now what's the next email you can send them, and the next email and the next email? Now, that's different than mass email marketing for everybody. But I believe in targeted email marketing for your customers because it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And I've seen it time and time again just revolutionize service departments of companies.
Okay. So, Tim, one of the things that you had taught classes on, in fact, I saw a social post come up the other day. And to quote Tim Reed, your website is leaking money. Can you kind of go into how a website leaks money and kind of touch on that briefly?
Oh, man. How much time you got, Jared? How much time you got? Okay. Yes. So my belief is that your website should serve one purpose, and that's to drive you leads that turn into sales. It's the only purpose of your website. The purpose of your website is not to look good. It's not to tell your story. It's not to make a customer think, oh my gosh, like whatever. The purpose of your website is to drive leads, and that's the only way you can judge it. I don't care about impressions. I don't care about clicks. I care about leads. So if you were to take the average website and measure how many people came to it last month, maybe it's 10,000. Well, out of those 10,000 people, how many leads did you get? And that's the metric I care about. So I believe that websites need to be set up like a sales funnel, and that we need to look at our website, and right when someone goes to it, this is classic Donald Miller. The website's got to answer 3 questions within 5 seconds. What do you offer? How does it make my life better? And how do I buy? And if in 5 seconds I don't see that, many customers will hit the back button or not take you seriously. So a lot of the time when I go to, chimney service companies' websites, wait, what do you sell? I'm trying to figure it out. I got some message about integrity and you've been proudly American operated since 1943. But that doesn't tell me what you sell. It doesn't tell me why my life is better after using you. And I'm looking around trying to figure out, okay, how do I buy? How do I schedule an appointment? How do I take myself off the market, Cheryl, like you said, to solve your problem? So a lot of the work that I do is with companies on their website. And that's actually what our software is built to do, is to help that customer be taken off the market by getting their problem solved. Because at the end of the day, there's 2 questions every consumer has when they go to your website. And they want to know which options are available for them, and they want to know how much it costs. And that's it. If they go to your website and you offer chimney service, well, which options are going to be right for me? I want to know that. Of your, 4 services that you offer, can I easily tell, yes, this is the one that's going to solve my problem? Part 2 is I want to know what it costs. And if your website can answer those questions, what it costs and what is going to be right for me, then I will take action. That's my belief on websites. So websites should be measured by the amount of leads that you get, and phone calls and leads.
Yeah. Cheryl, did that all make sense to you?
Made a lot of sense, because I'm like Tim. I won't stay on a website for a long amount of time. I call it a quick study, or I get bored quick. I'm going to look for something. I'm trying to find an answer. And if I don't find it soon, I'll go to the next guy's website.
Yeah. And, as you were talking, I was thinking about websites that I use a lot because I travel a lot in business. So 2 websites that I use a lot are, one is going to be for the airline. And what am I going for? I'm going to find out what time are the flights going in, and I'm wanting to know a cost.
That's right.
And also in my rental car, what I'm doing is I've got my data fed into there, my favorite type of rental car to rent, all that. So I go into it, and I rent my cars through Avis. So I go into the Avis website, and it tells me very quickly, what the car cost is, from that particular airport, which it can vary tremendously depending on the airport that you're flying into, what the rental car cost can be because of the cost to service that airport. But what you just said was so can you repeat those 3 things that a website has got to do to not leak money?
Yeah. Donald Miller calls this the grunt test. You should be able to hand a laptop to a caveman, and in 5 seconds of looking at it, they should be able to grunt out the answer to these 3 questions. First question is, what service do you offer? Second question, how does it make my life better? Third question, what do I need to do to buy?
Okay. So you think the consumer don't care that I've been in business since
Nope.
1926 and all this crap, or
Nope.
it's a family run business, or another one is it's a veteran run business. I mean, are these things that are actually on many websites, are they actually producing results?
No, they're not. Now, I'm gonna nuance that just a little bit, but they're not. When my toilet is broken and I am going through plumbers' websites, I don't want to read a sob story about your life and your grandpa. I want to know, are you able to fix my broken toilet? Now, so my thought with that, it's not that those things don't matter, but those things only matter where it's relevant to solve your customer's problem. And the very front page of your website, that's not relevant to solve my problem. Now, as I scroll down the web page, those things might be relevant. Being family owned and operated for 30 years in the community means something if a problem my customer has is they don't want to get left high and dry by some fly by night contractor. But we got to articulate the problem, So like maybe on your website, as you scroll through it, you've got something that's like sick of being left high and dry by companies that can't complete the work on time. We've been in business for 30 years, helping customers in our community, and we'll stand by your job from start to finish. That's a problem and a solution, right? When you talk about a solution without giving the context of a problem, it means nothing. And that's what happens. So all the things of like veteran owned, 30 years, my grandpa started the company, that matters if you're presenting it in a way that makes it relevant to solving the customer's problem. But otherwise, it's like puffing up a bag of hot air.
Yeah, I understand. Cheryl, does that make sense to you as a consumer and as a business owner?
It does. Even with things like my grandfather opened the company, needs to have something added. My maybe not exactly these words, but my grandfather opened the company and learned the measurements that make it work, and we instill that into our customers' jobs even now, or something like that.
Yep.
Something just to improve that he started it.
Yeah. Sorry, really quick on that. Yeah, the question that we always want to ask in every piece of marketing and every tagline we have for our business, who's the hero of the story? Is it you or is it your customer? The 30 years in business, if that's all you say, you're the hero. How could you say that in a way that makes your customer the hero?
Yeah, and what Sean just typed in, relating the customer with a problem may be experienced, and then providing solutions is an awesome approach.
Can I just
Sure.
piggyback on that? Yeah, that's a great comment that Sean had. And I think that's the key to sales, is that in sales, we have to slow down to address the problem. Our industry is so good at cramming solutions down people's throats so it's coming out their ears. But a solution without a problem means nothing. And the reason that people buy is because they have a problem and they want that solved, and we have to take the time on it. So like, if someone was gonna say to me, like just in a conversation, "Hey Tim, why should I use your company, to sweep my chimney or to repair my job?" The typical answer would be like, "Well, it's because we've been in business for 30 years and we've got NCSG and CSA certified technicians that are certified to NFI standards." That's a solution without a problem. What we should say is, why should I use your company to sweep my chimney? We should say something to the effect of like, well, there's so many homes in America that have open fireplaces, and over time, as they're used, there's all kinds of creosote buildup, and there's even fatigue in the brick that can cause major fire hazards. And in fact, there's upwards of 500 homes a year in this state or this community, whatever it is, that have house fires every year that could be prevented by a regular chimney service. So what our company does is we offer chimney services that are going to make sure you're operating safely, and I know safety is a buzzword that we can talk about that later, but the point is we talk about the problem before we talk about the solution. That's the point.
That's it. So what there is we need a place in this website that we are giving solutions to the customer's problem and why we are the best choice to provide that solution to that customer. And like I said, the 75 years in business, is that really going to do it? No, because your grandfather started this, okay, or someone else did. So I'm like you, I don't see that as a big drawing card there. So Cheryl, let me ask you this. We're going to end this shortly. So what advice would you give the listeners of all you've learned in 2022 that could help people in 2023 to move closer to that business dream that they have?
I've learned that it's time to stop and take a look back over everything you did in 22, reevaluate it, make a pro con statement, whatever works. What works, move on with it. What didn't get you anywhere in 22, you're really going to have to push in 23 to get it to work.
Okay. So, and if you're listening to us right now, we have our end of the year self-analysis form that'll be on our website in the next few days. And this is a very lengthy questionnaire, and it delves a lot of questions to ask yourself and points out the weaknesses. And and we use the Ziegler Wheel of Life, and we've converted this into a business wheel of life. So Cheryl, can you kind of explain what the Ziegler wheel, what does that tell you? What's so important about this wheel concept?
Well, the Ziegler wheel goes in different aspects of your life, the economy, your spirituals, whatever, the traits that we have in our life that control us and controls our being. And as we all say, it's worked on a point system, 1 to 10. You draw your little dots, you draw your little lines. And the whole deal is that a round wheel rolls better. So if you can get your life standards and what's going on in life, and I'm talking business, personal, not just business, but the whole thing, and you can round out that wheel a little bit, you don't have to fight. You don't have the fights within yourself. You can roll faster. You can get things accomplished because you have a good work-life balance. You have a good just day-to-day things. So that's what I liked about the Wheel of Life. Mine's not real round, and I will be honest about it. So, but I work every day to kind of niche it out a little bit, and that's what life is. It's a conglomeration of working on all the problems to increase to a better living.
Yeah, it's like Richard put it up. So, opposite approach using the Ziegler wheel, and he's done this for many years because we've been making this every year, and we change it every year. And what it is, it's a goal-setting guide and everything else. And I started doing this, I think, in 2014, and we just finished completing it the other day. I sent it out to Cheryl and Brandy and got their ideas onto it. And so it'll be going up on the website in the next few days. It's already been sent to our webmaster at Spark Marketer. So we're just waiting on them to get it up. So just keep watching, but that'll be available. And I highly recommend you do this every year of actually self-analyzing where you're at. In fact, I've got clients already asking when this is coming out this year. So it's about ready to go out here. So Tim, what about you? What have you learned in 2022 that could light somebody's fire if they put it into implement in 2023?
I would say investing in a sales process is worth its weight in gold. And the difference between a company that doesn't have a sales process and one that does is a company that doesn't have a sales process. When someone new gets hired, the person training them says, "This is how I do it." When you have a sales process, you say, "This is how we do it." And if it's not documented how we do it, you have no sustainability. Someone quits, gets hit by a bus, leaves for a better paying job, you're starting over from scratch. A sales process allows you to move new people in, bring them up to speed quickly, and then train them to expertise over time. But you're not on the hook with all of your tribal knowledge being put in one person. What a sales process also does is it allows you to get better. So when someone has a sales process, they can actually go back and look and say, "Man, why did that interaction not go so well? Oh, you know what? I didn't take enough time at step 2, which is understand the customer's problem. And that's why it went off. So next time I'm going to take more time to understand their problem." When you have no process, there's nothing to measure. It didn't go good. Well, how come? I don't know. I mean, I just got to do better next time. There's nothing to improve. It's just chaos. So investing in a sales process will be a time machine for training. It will allow your team to fine tune and get better. And finally, a sales process will allow you to view your customers intentionally at every stage of the pipeline and move them through. And that's, truly, like, most of my day job is with our software product Wi-Fi that we've tried to build to help people do exactly this. I think investing in a sales process is the most important thing someone can do in 2023.
Yep. And what I'm going to do is, from my aspect, I'm going to echo what Tim said, but I'm going to go deeper, which is develop the systems throughout your business. Sales process is one, but you gotta automate everything. And what I asked Tim, a lot of times I ask the question, how much information do you think is between Tim Reed's ears? How much information do you think is stored in your head right now?
Hopefully a lot.
I can guarantee you it's stacks and volumes of information. And this is one of the problems. We hire people and we expect them to learn by osmosis. You said the key thing a while ago. Well, you just go watch Jack and just do what he does. But the problem is Jack's not a trainer.
Yeah.
You've got to get this stuff down, and you've got to create these processes, these systems within your business. You know, it's an amazing thing. I've written 9 books at this point, and my number one selling book is Standardizing Standard Operating Procedures. And the really funny thing is, I will be glad to send you a free e-copy of this. If you're listening, just send me an email and say, hey, send me a copy of that book. I'll get it right out to you, and, you know, to help you out. But I think you've got to build your systems, build your processes are going to get there. Number 2, I think you got to learn leadership skills. I think if you're a leader and you are not studying leadership, you're going to have a continuing, ongoing process. You've got to be able to understand other people. And one of the things that we stress is you need to do behavior assessments and learn how to communicate with your people. Tim, when you go out and you're visiting a company, are the leaders actually able to understand the people that work for them?
Yeah, often not.
Yeah, it is. So Chuck just added sales process, SOP is a must, but with a changing business climate, we'll need tweaking in the 2023 economy and the customer attitude. So Chuck, just like always, you're dead on the money with what you're saying. So you've got to do those things. You also got to figure out where the funnel is in your business. And when I talk about the funnel, Tim, I got this little tool here, stays up on my desk, and this is an hourglass. And I got some made, believe it or not, with green sand in them. So the illustration here is this green sand, this is the money that's flowing out of businesses. As you have made your travels around, are you seeing where people are wasting resources?
Tons. Yeah. And that funnel is so key. It goes back to, I bought that website domain. Your website is leakingmoney.com. If you go to it, you can download a free video series that I have about why, but we're wasting so many resources. I mean, again, I think about for the folks who have showrooms, our customers getting written up estimates 80% of the time that they walk in. If not, that means people who were interested in your product are leaving and you don't have their contact information to follow up. If you're in the home, are you presenting a bid every single time you're in the home so that the customer can make a decision when they've taken time out of their day and they're focused on it? If not, when you leave, I mean, life happens and they're busy, you know. For the folks who are left waiting, that they were thinking about the service job being completed, but they wanted other bids. Are you following up with them? And that's the question I ask is, I had someone ask me the other day, hey, I've got a $75,000 marketing budget. What would you do? And I was like, well, spend 1/3 of it and start following up with your customers. That's what I would do. So I think that there's all kinds of resources that, again, it doesn't mean you're running a bad business if you haven't been paying attention to this, but we've had fish jumping in the boat and it's different now. Like, we got to go out and be farmers and start planting trees.
Yeah. Well, Tim, one last thing. You launched something really big this year, and I think you and Grant came out of your comfort zone with this one, was the Firetime magazine. So tell me, what's your mission with the Firetime magazine? Why did you guys start this? Because this is a lot of work, and you guys are really unique. It's one of the reasons I love to write, because y'all do an audio of the articles. And the first time I saw this, like, Lord have mercy, Matt's actually, you know, doing an audible format of articles I write. It's impressive as all get up. So what's the mission with Firetime magazine?
Man, you're right. So Matt Bradley, he's our editor, and he's the voice actor. He is incredible. The heart behind the Firetime magazine is that our industry, and when I say industry, that's the chimney side and the fireplace appliance side, has been very tight-fisted in many ways. And the chimney side is much more open than the fireplace appliance side, but there still is a tight-fistedness to some degree of like, well, I don't share with this person. I've got my ideas. I sell these manufacturers. And our belief is that a rising tide raises all boats. And very often in businesses in our industry, we feel like we always have to reinvent the wheel because no one has showed us how or set any kind of a standard of how things are done. So our goal with the magazine is to give a free monthly resource with a community of voices from the chimney and the fireplace sides so that we can get better together. Because the statistics show, this is what's being reported, but over the last 10 years, we've given away 50% of our appliance sales to e-commerce vendors, 50%. And that's what's being reported. My guess is it's higher than that, but we've given away half the industry already. And when you look at regulatory pressure and everything else, like, man, we got to come together. And our hope is that this magazine is a resource for people to learn and grow and eventually contribute to it.
And that's a really great thing because Matt sent me a note the other day. He said, do you want to write some articles in 2023? And my answer was, Matt, of course I do. It's it's really an honor. It's a privilege. It's a pleasure to be able to share thoughts and processes. I don't even know how many articles I've wrote in my lifetime, Tim. I've often said I've probably written more words than anybody in this industry when you look at Facebook and articles and all these other things. But it's a way to get the processes out. So, brother, I think you're doing a super job. I've really enjoyed our relationship since the first time I called you a couple of years ago after I heard you on another podcast. That's where our relationship started. We've met each other. We've had a great connection. You've honored myself by being on your podcast. You honored me and Cheryl. And it's truly an honor each and every time I can get you on this podcast, my friend. So I just want to say I appreciate you. You're the future, brother. Like I told you before, you're creating a legacy, and I'm so proud of what I see you doing, brother. If you're doing something, you're still a young guy with a lot of old guy ideas that can really move this industry to the next level.
Thank you.
Can you answer Chuck's question real quick?
Yeah, Chuck had a great question. How do we get this magazine? So if you go to thefiretimemagazine.com, you can either download the app, and when you download the app, every issue will be sent straight to you for free, or you can click the link to sign up and receive it in your inbox. But go to thefiretimemagazine.com. The other thing, if I can just give a quick shout out for this, is for those of you who have been thinking about the Wi-Fi software as a tool to build and develop your sales process, we're running a special through the end of the year. We're giving away 5 golden tickets, Willy Wonka style. That's good for is $1,500 off the setup fee, and we're down to 4 now. But I haven't checked my email recently. I think we still have 4. But if you have been on the fence about it, if you go to wifire.com and you sign up, use the promo code Golden Ticket, all one word, and you can get that. But Jerry, you like the golden ticket idea?
Yeah, I do that. I love the golden ticket idea. That's something else, brother. I'm gonna start calling you Willie Reed from this point forward. Willy Wonka Reed.
I'll take it. And seriously, it's an honor to be with you guys. I can't say how much I appreciate. I mean, when I look at the people who have served the industry at times thanklessly, I think that you guys are on the Mount Rushmore. So I appreciate you having me.
Hey, appreciate it. And we'll look forward to seeing you a couple months. I think we go to Nashville this year for HPBA. If my memory Louisville. Okay.
And actually, I'm speaking at the NCSG conference as well. So I'll see you there too.
Oh, good. I'm sure we will. That's what I love to do. See things. So folks, we appreciate you joining us today. As always, we hope you have picked up some processes, some concepts that you can kick in. Keep in mind, Tim just shared with you his Wi-Fi system. Hey, I'd be grabbing one of them golden tickets, folks. I'm going to tell you, excuse me. I'd take that Willy Wonka deal if I were you guys out there. Sign up for the Firetime Magazine, and please be with us every single week. If we can help you turn your business dreams into your business realities, then reach out to us here at CVC Success Group. The thing is, if we can't help you, we know somebody that can. You would be shocked. That's the neat thing. A lot of times somebody will contact me, and I may say, hey, Tim Reed's your guy. If you want to do these type of things and other people the same way, and Tim, I would say that's the same way you operate. Would you
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it is. It's a great big networking process. So appreciate you joining us today. We'll see you next time on the next episode of